Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be checking out EXO's Killing Voice. Alright guys, we saw all of your requests for doing EXO's Killing Voice, and here we are. We've been kind of putting this off a bit because these videos are a little bit on the longer side, and we kind of need to wait till we had the energy to really go through the whole thing. Because we have to film a whole lot of other K-pop artists and everything, so we're trying to keep up with everything, but yeah, we're finally here.
Killing Voices are essentially where they show off their powerhouse vocals. Not every group does them, and EXO's is probably the best Killing Voice out there. I think there's some other contenders that have really good. Killing Voices 17 is one of them. I'm sure we'll get around to it. I have a bias for NCTs, even though I know they're not necessarily considered like the best vocalists in K-pop, but I think they have some really good vocals. But honestly, I've said it before, I'll say it again, EXO are the undisputed vocalist kings of K-pop. They just have so many powerhouse vocalists, and every single one of their members can sing, even their rappers. And you're really gonna just be able to hear like the tonal quality of their voice in this Killing Voice episode. Particularly Chen. Chen's voice is so good, but getting it like sort of singled out here in these Killing Voices, just like it gives me chills how beautiful his tone is. But like honestly, there's gonna be a lot of amazing vocals you hear throughout here. It won't be the entire song, so it'll just be little snippets, whether it's like a chorus or a bridge or whatever it is. So it'll give you a good introduction to what EXO's entire discography sounds like, because you'll get like all of it, like all of their top hits in this. And they have a lot. They've been around a long time. They have a vast and varied discography, and so it'll be like kind of a good introductory course to them as well.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm excited to check this out. Before we do, guys, feel free to check out my memberships. They're only $1, and you get early access to videos like these, and also the anime reactions.
빨리 와. 빨리 와. 오케이, 띵고!
킬링 보이스 인사드리겠습니다. 하나, 둘, 셋, 야!
안녕하셨습니다.
네, 여러분들의 성원에 힘입어 우리 엑소엘 분들이 너무 원하셔서 저희가 드디어 왔습니다. 네, 그럼 들려드릴까요?
첫 번째 곡 들려드리겠습니다. 노래 주세요. Yo, okay. Sexy. 나 혹시 몰라 경고하는데 잘 들어. 지금 위험해. So dangerous. 자꾸 나를 자극하지 마. 나도 날 몰라. 숨이 자꾸 멎는다. 네가 날 향해 걸어온다. 나를 보며 웃는다.
And that's Chen, just as a refresher.
Okay. This one?
No, that's Baekhyun. Baekhyun, he has a beautiful voice too, though.
Okay.
That's Chen. See that? Did you hear that?
네, 다음 곡은 제 컴백이 시급한 곡이죠. Love Me Right. Oh yeah.
This is one of their best songs.
Okay.
Take your time. 왠지 두근대는 밤이야. 다 같이. 나나나. Hey. 나나나나.
So tonight 달 끝까지 달려가 볼까?
Just right. 시동을 걸어 웩셀에 발을 어울려. 모든 것이 특별히 너와 완전 어울려. 무엇을 원하든 I'ma make it working.
Shorty, I'm a party till the sundown. 지금 이 신비로운 느낌은 뭘까? 와도 내게로 와서 before the sunlight. 어디가 언제나 어디가 nobody.
도로위 여긴 runway 날 바라보는 눈썹 Milky Way. Just love me right. When you love me right. 내게로 와 망설이지 마. 넌 매혹적인 나의 universe. Just love me right.
내 우주는 전부 너야.
Just love me right.
Hey.
Just love me right.
Chen.
Just love me right.
I like how the rap vocals and the singing, how well they blend those
Yes.
together.
네가 우리 완전 난리야. 사람들 사이는
Another one of their best songs ever. There's all. I'm gonna say that for every song, but like this is extra good.
I think I saw Call Me Baby in our suggestions too.
We probably will do it eventually. Hopefully this is not too much of a spoiler.
성광처럼 가득차 너를 마주한 순간 oh my 편하게 여기 앉아 이제 내 얘기를 들어봐 I don't care 멀리 멀리 돌아간대도 이렇게 너의 곁에 사람 남자가 돼줄 테니 내 말이 내 입술에 너 스며들어와 나를 깨워 Time's wasting girl so don't wait too long 빛나는 꽃들은 만나 그 안에 진짜를 봐봐 Call me baby, call me baby
See how good they sound together? Those harmonies.
Yeah.
거쳐간 맘마 맑은 그 물을 닦아 Call me baby, call me baby Call me baby, call me baby Call me girl
It almost doesn't sound real. Their voices blend so beautifully.
겨울 앨범 노래로 분위기를 바꿔보겠습니다.
We're going ballad now.
Okay.
들어보세요. 내 낡은 기타를 들어 하지 못한 고백을 혹은 고집스레 삼킨 얘기 노래 하나 만든 척 지금 말하려 해요
One of their main rappers still can sing.
I sing for you. 너무 사랑하지만 사랑한단 말 안 해. 어색해 자존심 허락하네. 오늘은 용기 내서 난 말할 테지만 무심히 들어요. I sing for you. The way you cry, the way you smile. 내겐 얼마나 큰 의미인 걸까. 하고픈 말 놓쳐버린 말.
He's very good.
Ugh.
고백할 테지만 그냥 들어요. I'll sing for you. Sing for you. 그냥 한번 듣고 웃어요.
See? Can still sing. Rapper.
네, 정말 오랜만에 들려드리네요. 10여 년이죠.
It's the song.
늘 나밖에 몰랐었던 이기적인 내가 네 맘도 몰라줬던
Wow, to go straight into that is like pretty intense.
이렇게도 달라졌다는 게 나조차 믿기지 않아 네 사랑은 이렇게 계속 날 움직여 시간을 멈춰 내게 돌아가 추억의 책에 너의 페이지를 열어 난 그 안에 있어 너와 함께 있는 건
Because the emotion required of that vocal,
Yeah.
and he just
Just
fucking slays
he
it.
just locked in instantly. Yeah.
This has also been recommended a lot for you to react to, but I don't know that I would pick it.
Really? Okay.
I love this song. It's just, it's not for you.
What does that mean?
It's for me.
Oh, okay.
굳게 닫아버린 서로의 마음이 애써 외면하는 것
Chen.
다 들어가 갈라질 때 숨이 막혀와 갈증이 나 이 한 잔을 가득히 담아
넘칠 듯한 위태로운 오늘 밤을 나 It's the love shot.
I think I've heard this chorus before.
It's a hugely popular song. It's
Yeah.
very possible.
This sounds familiar.
A lot of covers of this song from other groups too.
Okay.
It's the love shot.
This one's good.
What's the situation? 당황한 너의 시선 넘어 끝내 무너지는 성벽 차츰 밝아오는 새벽 yeah. 끝없이 이어지고 있어 모든 칼날 끝에 잘라내지 못해 계속 반복되는 문제 미처 풀지 못한 숙제 높은 벽 앞에 쓰러지던 자꾸 약한 바람 소리가 뒤엉켜 폭풍처럼 몰아치는 소리를 들어봐 깨고 부딪혀야 해 우릴 볼 수 있도록 크게 소리쳐야 해
I love that they're doing the choreography for this one.
To, like, get
They
them
must
in the
really
mood.
love it.
Yeah.
여린 빛들이 번져가긴 어둠을 다 몰아낸 순간 다시 깨어나야 해 다시 깨어나야 해 새로워진 아침에
네, 태우 씨곡 소개해 주세요.
다음 곡은 우월한 오케스트라가
We should have turned on the subs, the English subs.
많은 사랑 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사하고 우월한
삶에 허락된 축복받은 날들에 감사하고 매일 새로운 인연들을 만들고 깨져버린 마음에 보다 깊은 사랑을 모두 함께 웃을 수 있다면 우린 더 이상 눈을 마주하지 않을까 소통하지 않을까 사랑하지 않을까 아픈 현실에 다시 눈물이 흘러 바꿀 수 있다고 바꾸면 된다고 말해요 마마
Chills. That's beautiful.
여러분 중독은 영어로 오버도즈가 아닙니다.
This is probably my favorite EXO song of all time.
처음이
After Miracles in December.
Okay.
It's old though.
Hey, 모든 걸 밟은 널 들이켰네 이젠 돌이킬 수도 없다 이건 분명 위험한 중독 So bad, no one can stop her Hold up, 오직 그것만 봐라 그녀의 사랑 하나뿐인걸 치명적인 fancy 황홀한 그 안에 취해 Oh, she wants me Oh, she's got me Oh, she hurts me 좋아 더욱 갈망하고 있어 Someone 걸고 닥터 날 붙잡고 말해줘 사랑은 병중독 overdose 시간이 지날수록 통제는 힘들어져 점점 깊숙이 빠져간다 Too much 너야 Your love 이건 overdose Too much 너야 Your love 이건 overdose
This is the song that got me into EXO.
자, 몬스터입니다.
And this is probably my third favorite EXO song. Okay,
네 삶을 다
settle down.
뒤집어 버리는 게
Now Chen, ready?
I'm sorry you make me so crazy You know you do
Oh fucking K, Chen!
쳐보면 근데 내 진심은 왜 결국에 날 거부 못해 숨어서 훔쳐보다가 깜짝 놀라지 내게 난 진놈이 같은 난 내 존재의 일부 날 그대로 받아들여 나의 두려움 걱정은 접어두려 네가 견딜만 한 고통을 누려 더 깊이 빠져들어 널 맘대로 가지고 놀아 내 손에서 마음껏 놀아 도망가지만 너 영원히 맴돌아
Call me monster I'm living in your heart babe 뒤집고 무너뜨리고 삼켜 그래 넌 훔쳐탄 네게 널 망쳐놓을 거야 네 맘속에 각인된 채
I don't know this song, so we're enjoy.
You know.
I have no commentary for this.
Okay.
장난하는 이런 오후에 너에게 전화를 걸 수만 있다면 기쁠 텐데 벌써 1년이 지났는데 난 아직 미련 가득해서 쓸쓸해.
So far, I've actually, other than the obvious vocalists, the two rappers I've actually been really impressed with so far.
They have very sweet vocals.
같은 소리지 그래도 마냥 너를 만나면 눈물 차올라 바보 같은 난 아무 말 못해 말해줘 Merry Merry Christmas 안녕 잘 지내는 거지 눈이 내리면 멍든 가슴이 모두 하얗게 덮여지게 될까 난 괜찮은
Plus, their whole demeanor changes when they go from rapping to singing.
Yeah.
Christmas. 네, 이번 노래는 우리 엑소와 엑소엘을 이어주는 아주 예쁜 노래입니다.
This is your fourth favorite?
This is my fourth favorite.
조금은 내게짓 널 향한 이끌림 나에게 따라오라 손짓한 것 같아서 애절한 눈빛과 모원의 이야기 가슴에 회오리가 몰아치던 그날 밤 오묘한 그대의
I really like the beat.
Yes.
하나뿐인 영혼을 뺏기고 그대의 눈짓에 완전히 취해서 숨쉬는 것조차 잊어버린 나인데 왈츠처럼 사뿐히 앉은 눈을 뗄 수 없어 시선이 자연스레 걸음마다 널 따라가잖아 나를 해줘 yeah, 그대가 살고 있는 곳에 나도 함께 데려가줘 세상의 끝이라도 뒤따라갈 테니 누군 내 시야에서 벗어나지 말아줘 아침이 와도 사라지지 말아줘 꿈을 꾸는 걸음 그대 나만의 아름다운 나비
와 끝나갑니다 여러분.
힘내세요.
네.
이 각박한 세상 속에서 힘내세요.
This is a fun song.
돌아볼까요 다시?
머뭇거리지만 move on 자 시간이 없어 너의 미래는 바로 상상에 달렸어 두려움 따위 버려 우린 그래도 돼 모든 열쇠 너에게 있는데 잠들지 않아도 꿈꾸던 널 잊지 않기를 바래 오늘 우리 함께 신나게 한번 불태워볼까 꼭 하나 된 feeling Don't turn me up Power 네가 나를 볼 때 서로 같은 마음이 느껴질 때 Power 더 강해지는 것 Turn the music on We got that Power 이 말을 통해 다시 한 목소리로 노래할 때 Power 더 강해지는 걸 Turn the music on
여러분 힘내세요. 다 같이.
We got that
네, 엑소가 3년 만에 정규 7집으로
So this was their current single at the time that they did the song. I think they do the whole song, but I'm not.
지금 들려드릴게요.
I don't quite know.
Okay.
똑 쏘는 듯한 느낌 꽤나 부드러운 크림 섞일수록 더욱 진해져 baby 분무기 타는 기분 살짝 위태로운 지금 다른 걸론 절대 만족 못해 Baby come closer 이맘 가득 퍼져 처음 맛본 특별한 끌림 이 자극적인 텐션 like a bottle of cola 넌 탄산처럼 팍 터져 있니
이성이 다 마비된 듯 사랑 앞에선 베이비 자꾸만 비틀
까다로운 척 이리저리 재봐도 원래 몸에 해로운 게 끌리는 거 알지 주체 못한 에피타임 내 모든 걸 뒤흔든
How is he real? Flawless.
Baby go dum dum 머릿속을 shaking 딱한 입에 난 이미 freezing Give me that yum yum 맞질 않는 taste 날 사로잡은 달콤한
달콤해 그 맛이 뻔뻔 diesel 한 모금 들이 마신 순간 덤덤 before 날 자제하려 시도했지만 조절이 안 돼.
This is not my favorite EXO song, but I can appreciate the vocals here.
Right. It's been a lot for me to take in.
Yes.
Like I'm trying to focus on a lot of different things at once.
Sure.
Like vocal technique, just overall tone. Just trying to enjoy the song for what it is as well.
Baekhyun does really good with that too.
많은 관심과 기대 부탁드리겠습니다.
감사합니다.
안녕.
갈게요.
Wow, that felt like a really quick 20 minutes actually.
Because it was incredibly entertaining, right? Like,
Yeah, it's really entertaining. A lot going on. Yeah, it's actually kind of overwhelming, especially if I don't know a whole lot.
yeah.
And yeah, that was like a crash course, more or less, through their discography for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, I was only familiar with, well, two technically.
Love Shot,
Yeah, like
Miracles of December.
I had heard that chorus from somewhere, you know, maybe
Yeah.
a TikTok or something, and didn't know it was from them. I would probably say, and I probably said this to you before, between the last time we reacted to EXO and now, but like I do feel like this is probably my favorite boy group in K-pop. Like, just there are things to admire on a technical level and just performance-wise, and you know, and they do like the dancey stuff too, right? And
Yeah, sure.
do like the fun stuff, and so they have that, and not that, you know, and definitely not taken away from other groups like, you know, Stray Kids or NCT, but just for what I look for in performance stuff, I think EXO is probably my favorite. There's just so much to chew on, and just as a fellow musician, there are things for me to admire in there, and be able to go, wow, like that was really incredible, that technique that they use there, and with this particular performance, I was pretty shocked to like focus a bit more on the rappers. Usually they're kind of, for me, in the background a little
Ancillary, yeah.
bit. And so, but it's not even so much whenever they started singing, but it was actually when they started rapping, which is not really like my forte, but it's the part that I was actually the most impressed with them is their rapping.
How aggressive they got with it. Like, they were feeling their performance. It wasn't just I'm here to give you this performance and move on with my day. It was...
Yeah, and just their vocal technique with it, to be able to play with the rhythm whenever they're enunciating certain words, and their vocal tone as they're rapping, that's a thing too. So, and the fact that they can switch from that to providing some vocals and not even...
Tell him to stop! We're trying to film! I'm trying to concentrate!
Hey, cat! Quit your shit!
Just like over here flopping, like showing his belly, just fucking putting on a little strip show over there.
I have a cat named Mochi, and he's licking his own ass right now. What was I saying?
Vocal tone and...
Vocal tone, yeah, just the rappers were really impressive for the actual rapping part, which is something that I don't usually look for, but here I was.
Yeah.
Maybe because in this context, maybe they just stood out the most. They were doing the most different things, and so like,
Sure.
and the way that the video was filmed, you know, the two rappers are off to the sides, and I was kind of also paying attention to what, this is gonna sound a little nerdy in terms of like music stuff, but I was kind of paying attention to what their frequency range was, which they were kind of providing, not always, but they were providing some like the bass tones
Yes.
in the vocals, and usually whenever you're mixing, and not that this is relevant in the performance, but typically you'll take bass tones and you'll put them off to the sides, which is interesting that they positioned them where they were, because that technically wouldn't really matter a lot because of you can mix it however you want whenever we're hearing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to see like what they covered and like what they had them do whenever it came to vocals, because there's already a lot, like all the guys in the middle are all like super incredible on their own. So it's interesting that they still found ways to fit them in and actually not have them in there just to be inclusive, but because they actually provide something as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. But yeah.
So it's like with EXO, the rappers are less of an afterthought.
Mhm.
They're part of the whole, right? Like they're a puzzle piece that you couldn't have and make the picture complete if they weren't there. I just think like it's also like to their credit that they can sing too. Like you said, they're providing those like bass tones, right? There's vocal skill involved in that. Those aren't easy vocals to pull off. Like they're subtle, and they could be like more in the background, but they make a huge difference to the sound as a whole. So, I mean, I feel like I like that their rappers aren't disposable in EXO. Like they matter. But let's talk about Chen, because if you hadn't figured out yet, my bias is Chen. Because he is probably the best vocalist in all of K-pop. And again, if you want to fight me, we can fight. Like I don't care, because he is. Those vocals, the falsetto. I don't even like falsetto. I don't. But Chen's falsetto is flawless, and like watching him perform, and Baekhyun too. Like Baekhyun's got and I know a lot of people love Dio's vocals, and I like Dio's vocals as well. But for whatever reason, tonally he doesn't quite get me quite as much as Chen and Baekhyun do.
He's a good backup in terms of like them kind of leading. He's like kind of like a good like almost like second in command kind of sound.
I actually think people would consider Chen second in command and Dio like El Capitan of the vocals. I've never really agreed with that assessment. I've always found
agree with that either.
Chen, for whatever reason, is really underrated and undervalued in this group. I've never been able to quite figure that one out. He did have a scandal with like, ooh, he had a child with a woman and got married, and how fucking dare you in K-pop, right? Like we don't.
God.
But that was like way after I felt he was like kind of considered a second-rate citizen within.
Maybe it's a
EXO.
personality thing or something.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't fit the stereotypically handsome Korean stereotype that the other men do. But Chen's vocals are like, I mean, they're like world-class vocals. Like he can sing, and what he and Baekhyun do, and Dio, they make it seem so effortless. Like you don't see strain on their face. It almost looks like it's just easy for them.
Actually, I'm kind of seeing what they're thinking in terms of like how they would order them, because what's the name of the, not Chen, the other one? Baekhyun. Because he did seem to kind of take charge for the majority of it, and you know maybe Chen is kind of like the wild card that can reach those like soprano levels of vocals. So he's kind of like the secret weapon more or less, instead of being the leader. Because just because you can sing the highest and maybe the prettiest doesn't necessarily mean you should be the leader or that you are the leader. But yeah, maybe so I can kind of see where they're coming from maybe with that.
Yeah.
Because yeah, he was singing on the majority of everything, at least leading for a good chunk of it. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but I really like, and his vocal tone I feel is very unique. Like I don't feel like I could name another artist that has a vocal tone that's, and I think that's actually true of Dio and Baekhyun too, which is another reason why I think EXO is so special. It's not just because they have world-class vocalists, but they have very distinct tones, very beautiful, buttery tones that just like you can sink into. Like it's not like, I mean, they're different. It's just they have a distinct way of singing that I don't hear from other groups. Because I'm gonna use this as an example. Please don't be mad. I fucking love Stray Kids. Like I cherish them. They're one of my all-time favorite groups. But it can be hard sometimes when Stray Kids is singing to differentiate who's singing when they're all singing. They all have very similar tones and manners of singing. There's a song they did, Going Dumb with Alicio or something. It's like a dance song, and like I remember Christopher was sitting there pointing out who each member was when they were singing, and a lot of the comments were like, how do you know? Because they're not really distinct in the way that they sing. That's not true with EXO. When EXO's vocalists sing, you can pick them out. You know who's singing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for me it would take a bit more practice.
Sure, right, yeah.
But I mean, but even like between like the rappers and Chen, like yeah, you can definitely hear very different vocal tones, and I think that's why all of them can chip in. And then for the most part, it's kind of true with other groups too. But like, but because they have that certain vocal tone, that's why they're switching off so much, and so that everyone has something to offer for that part of the song.
Right.
Like for Stray Kids, that's usually Felix, I would think, like to be like, yeah, we gotta include that tone in there.
Yeah.
He would be the most distinguishable one out of all of them, I would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I would say that generally speaking, across the board, these guys have very different tones to offer.
Yeah. So what did you think of your first Killing voice?
I was not gonna lie, I was kind of dreading it because like I had heard that the videos were longer, and while we do like anime reactions technically that are about the same length, it's just a different experience. So I wasn't sure what this was gonna be like in terms of music, but that wasn't bad at all, to be honest. Like I would be
Went by
open to
much
doing
quicker than you thought.
totally. Like
Yeah.
I was pretty entertained by the whole thing. It's overwhelming, but maybe I would rather be overwhelmed than underwhelmed for 20 minutes. So, but yeah, that was pretty awesome.
All right.
So, rating, I guess. Can I even rate this?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could rate it like on how well you think they performed.
I'm gonna give it like I can give it a 10.
I was all ready to be like incorrect. It's a 10, but okay, I don't need to.
I mean,
yes, it is a 10.
Well, because I was like, he's like, well, 9, and then but I really thought about it, and I was like, was there ever a time where I sat there and I was like, well, that was a little off, or whatever? And no, there was never a time where
It was
I thought
flawless.
that. It was
flawless.
It was pretty flawless.
Flawless victory.
Yeah. Not that I would know what some of the songs are supposed to sound like, but it didn't sound like there were any issues throughout the.
No, they sounded exactly like what they were supposed to. So yeah. All right. I think we will probably at least do 17's Killing Voice as well, because a lot of you were asking for that one. And 17's Killing Voice is a little bit more fun. Like it's silly.
Okay.
Because 17 are silly. But you still have great vocalists in that one too. So, but this is the cream of the crop. You're not going to get better vocals than we got right here.
Cool. Okay. I'm looking forward to that one.
All right.
Okay. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the reaction, and if you have any other suggestions, let us know in the comments. But we will see you later.